I made it off the block. Not another statistic. Available on headknockers.com or Amazon. You buy it from me, you get a signature, the whole get down. Yo, this your California cousin, Guillermo Eiland. And if you don't know, and if you don't tune in, I'm gonna catch you. Because I'm chatting with Staxx.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Big Chaz.
My brother.
What's up, man?
I'm good, man. How's the weather? How's the weather in Connecticut?
It's a little cold out. Getting,
I think
little nippy out there.
A little nippy. Yeah, I think we're at a brisk 63 out here in Arizona right now.
It's like that all year, right?
Oh, hell no. Don't we wish? It just dropped down probably about 3 weeks ago. It's been 100, 110, 115. Arizona's, I'm born and raised in Cali. I moved here. Ice-T moved here first, and then he convinced me to move out here. So I did in 2017. Me and Ice actually live like 5 minutes from each other. But Arizona, right around May, it starts 100, 105. Then it gets hotter throughout the summer. Then we have what's called monsoon season. And it's kind of nuts because I don't know of any other state that it'll be 115, but it'll rain, monsoon, and we have this thing called kaboob, where you'll get monstrous, filled with dirt, rain, hail, all at the same time. And it's 115 degrees and humid as hell. So I didn't get that bad this summer because, I moved to Thailand for about 8 months. I just got back. I had to come back for eye surgery. So I've been back about 2 months. So
one thing I wanted to ask you, I've seen you with Ice-T quite a bit. How did you meet Ice-T? And what was your first introduction to him?
I talk about it in the book, Staxx, but I'll tell you, we lived on 3rd Avenue and 52nd. And which is, 8 blocks from Crenshaw, 12 blocks from Slauson. And I had this neighbor. I'm not making fun of black folks' names. Sometimes they have the best names. But I had these neighbors. The name was Latronia and Kawasha. Might mean water on the knee. I don't know what it means. But she kept saying, "You look like Tracy." She goes, I go to Crenshaw with Tracy, and you look like him, but you got blue-green eyes. He got hazel eyes. I had long hair, and we're 10 years apart. And at that time, I was going to Catholic school, and I lived with my birth giver. She was even though she was a woman of the night and drugs, and she would, don't go around the corner. Don't go around the corner. And if you go through the back of my house, there was it's even to this day that makes me think about it, Staxx. It was this gate for some reason that went through to the next street, which was 4th Avenue. I lived on 3rd Avenue. And I don't know who made it. It went, you heard of an easement?
Yeah, easement.
So it was an easement. I found out years later what an easement meant. But it went through, and it went right facing Angeles Mesa. And Ice-T, Big Casper, rest in peace. Lil D, Steve, I'm trying to remember all their names, but they were called Mesa Bowl, so Angeles Mesa, and they were called Mesa Bowl Hustlers. And it was like, I went through that gate, me and my next door, there was a foster home next door. So me and my best friend, David, I talk about him in the book. We walked through, and we both were told, do not go around that corner, because we went to Catholic school. And I think at that time I was like 10, and I see the school. Remember the movie? What was the movie with the kids that played baseball and the dog? If the ball went in, what was the name of that movie?
I forgot, but I know what you're talking about. And
the dog. They were told something field or whatever. It was like that. When we got those, like we saw Angeles Mesa. I only saw Angeles Mesa if we were driving up to Crenshaw to go to the store, but I saw all of it. And I saw two light-skinned dudes. One was Big Cass, rest in peace. And I'm like, "Ugh, I don't think she's talking about him." And he had like a blonde afro, maybe brownish. And then I saw a dude, and they were called TaylorMades. He was playing in TaylorMade slacks, which were the ugliest slacks in the world. But you put these buckles on them, and they were like salt and pepper. And he was playing in Stacey Adams with a perm and a silk shirt. And what people don't know, Ice-T can ball. He is a hell of a basketball player. And I saw him, and I didn't smoke weed as a kid. Nothing. I've never been into nothing. But I wanted to belong. So I went through the gate. I remember they kind of looked at me. I went set, and there was a cat by the Maduro, which was Lil D from Roller 60s. And he was like, "Man, you look like that." And that N word right there. I'm like, "Who?" And he pointed at Ice-T. And it was the first time, like I said, I was about 10. It was the first time I ever smoked some weed. And Staxx, I was in a kite. And Ice-T finally came over. And in all of his graciousness, he went like this. "Sup, little," and walked away. And just over time, we just, and then other cats would flock to him. He wasn't Ice-T the rapper then. He was actually, he wasn't even Ice-T. My bad. He was Crazy T. He was Crazy T. He was not Ice-T. And he was if I was 10 and he's 10 years older than me, so you kind of know how old he was. And he just looked so grown to me. And over time, I would just be at the right places. And there was a club called the Radiotron. Remember the movie Breakin'?
Yeah.
That movie was about the club Radio that was originally owned by some English investors. And Blondie, the singer Blondie, I love these stories, Stack, because as I tell them, it's like you very rarely hear these stories from California. But if you was from the hood, you didn't know nothing about the radio, but it was actually a punk rock club. And Ice-T, he would go everywhere. And then now he's Ice-T. And he did something where he met Fab Five Freddy, because remember Fab Five Freddy was in the song with Blondie.
Yeah.
And start playing hip hop. Ice-T performed. People start going from them. And I think, again, now at this time, I'm like, I think I just got out of juvenile. I was in Sylmar Juvenile Facility.
What did you go to? What did you go to juvenile facility for?
Breaking into back in those days, a hex key would open the bus stop. Not the bus stop, the parking meters. Me and my neighbor Greg, rest in peace, we'd get up about 3 a.m. and sneak out of the house and break into the parking meters and steal all the change you could think of. We got away with it for about a week, and then we got caught. And there was no probation back in those days. You went straight to placement. I went to Clear Creek Juvenile Facility, violated, and then they sent me to Sylmar for 7 months. But yeah, so every time I'd come home, I was a revisitor, Staxx. I was a, had the in and out program.
Yeah.
And every time I'd come home, I'd know where Ice-T was, where he lived. And I'd always have a little more muscle on me. So he'd go, "Oh, you just got out." And, that's my big brother. And I would have no music career if it wasn't for him, because I could have cared less about him. I wasn't thinking about no music, Staxx. I wasn't. I was.
Now you got plaques all over the wall. You're like,
they're fake. The
iconic people that you have done music with.
They're all fake. The troll said I get them from goplatinum.com. So,
oh man,
yeah, I've worked myself. That's this picture right here. Hopefully, I don't lose you. That one right there was about 8 months ago. That's in my office, my other clubhouse. My motorcycle life, and actually, true story. I see the khaki suit that Ice-T has on.
Yeah.
All right. So we have that song Dickies. Yep. That's out. It's a banger. It's me, Ice-T, Greedy Gonzalez, KP, and you remember Down, Lean Like a Cholo. He's on there. And we're at Buca di Beppo. He had never been there, so we're eating Italian food. And I just put my book out. So he's like, man, bring a copy of the book and sign it. So we have a, I think I sent you a picture of us. He's like, man, if we're going to shoot this video tomorrow, we got to get some khaki suits. I said, cuz, what kind of crip is you if you ain't got no khaki suit? And he started laughing. He said, see, that's the problem. You ain't figured out how to let go yet. He goes, I don't keep a khaki suit handy. So we went to Walmart, Staxx, that was right across the street on Ray Boulevard here in Arizona. It's me and Ice-T. Now let's do the levels. This is me. This is Ice-T. And we walk into Walmart, and all of a sudden I've been with him for years, but now we're talking about 66-year-old Ice-T. It was still like 20. It was, are you Ice-T? Yeah. You want a picture? All right, hurry up. Come on. He didn't say no to no one. But the funny thing about that khaki suit, that man dropped his pants right there in the middle of the floor, said, Cass, watch my back. And he put that khaki suit on. He's like, all right, it fit. And we were in and out. So that's what makes him OG Ice-T. There was no celebrity in him whatsoever. So yeah, that's my guy, man. I love him to death. And people don't know when he films, he lives in Jersey. When he's off, him and the family are here in Arizona.
Yeah, because he does that.
SVU.
Yeah, the SVU, yeah.
Yeah, 26 years. The longest running actor, not black actor, longest running actor on a TV series. 26 seasons.
New Jack City was a
New Jack City
iconic movie. I remember him like it was yesterday when it came out. It was in the 80s. I think it was the 80s, right? Late 80s. Early 90s.
Here's what's crazy about that movie, Staxx. My childhood big brother, his name is Skinny B, Brian Lewis. And him and Mario Van Peebles are best friends. Like Ice-T, Skinny always, I was just a screw up, Staxx. And I met Skinny. There was a club called The Palace in Hollywood. And of course, I had no business being there. I think I was 15, 16. I snuck in. Skinny was security there. And it was a night Ice-T was performing. So I snuck in. I met Skinny B. I was sitting in the living room. Swear on my life, man, I died tonight. I was sitting in the living room like 8 months later when Mario was showing Skinny B the treatment for New Jack City and said he wanted Ice-T to be in the movie. So I get to say I have this saying that you can't make this up. All the trolls love that I say it. You can't make this up. I've been around long enough that I've got to experience, but to say that I sat there in the living room in its infancy and got to hear him say, man, I'd love to have Ice-T in the movie. And if you go watch any interview with Ice-T, Mario caught him at a club that was on Pico. I think it was called The Mix or Funky Reggae. I think it was Funky Reggae, and which was owned by 3 childhood friends of mine, Alfred Gregg, Howard Lynch, and David Ferguson. High school dudes. If you've ever heard of Funky Reggae, it was 3 high school dudes. And yes, it was Funky Reggae. It was at their original location. And Mario went up there in a polo shirt, looking preppy, and Ice-T is like, hey, who this? And that's how he pitched New Jack City to him.
1991, it says.
Wow.
91.
And I went to prison in 92, so I didn't get a chance to, see all of it at that time.
I went 96. I went to juvenile, too.
Did you? What'd you go for, Staxx?
Yeah. Stolen cars. Stolen car was the first one.
Where were you living at that time?
With my mom.
No, where? Still in Connecticut or?
Yeah. I was born and raised in Connecticut, but I did a lot of time in juvenile, and then I went to adult prison.
Yeah, that sucks.
First stolen car, then burglary. Second was the next big one.
Do you remember when you gave your number back? Do you remember how old you were when you gave your number back?
What do you mean gave the number back?
Yeah, well, when you get off parole and you finally, we always say when you gave your number back, you're done. You're off paper.
I never heard that saying.
Oh, really? Oh, on the East Coast, they don't.
Never heard that.
Did you have a CDC number?
Yeah. 254.
Yeah, well, we call it when you gave it back, like when you were done, when you're off paperwork. So that's what we mean.
6 years.
There you go.
6
Congratulations.
years ago. Thanks,
Congratulations.
man. Changed my life. I got sober. I started doing this. Changed everything about my life.
You know, I finally, and people need to know, and it's my fault. We've been trying, some people are going, who is this guy? Some people are going, oh, that's Cass. But me and you've been trying to do this for about a year, right?
Yeah, probably longer.
And I want to say to you, eye to eye, I apologize. I just got to that point where I just got tired of doing, but what I started watching your show, and you have an amazing show, brother.
Thank you.
It's I've done No Jumper, I've done Holding Court, I've done American Dope, Without Profit. Only podcast I've ever turned down was Vlad. I turned it down. I did No Jumper, just right after Nipsey passed, 6 in peace. And I got a text from Adam and say, yo, Vlad wants you to do a show. And I was like, and I said, well, have him contact me. And then this producer hit me and said, hey, this producer for Vlad, blah, blah, blah. I still have the email. And I said, well, what does he want to interview me about? True story. Look at the cameraman, I died tonight. And he said, oh, he just wants to talk to you, same thing that you did on No Jumper, same thing you did here. I said, well, then let people go watch that. And that's the only reason why I didn't do Vlad, because it just becomes recycled. What was beautiful about you, I said, hey, do you mind if you're like, yeah, let me know what you want to talk about. And then you let me know once you let me know what you wanted to talk about, I was like, oh, I ain't got nothing to add. Let's do it. Because it wasn't, some things, it just wasn't the same recycled garbage.
Yeah, like stuff you recited the same story 100 times. If I wanted to hear that, I would just pull it up on No Jumper.
Well, there's a new listener every day. I could put a song out. And that song I have with Akon is actually not new.
That's
but to new listeners, thank you, brother. Yeah, it's called Still Locked Up. But, when I did this new deal with Empire, they were like, yo, bring us your catalog. So it's just on a bigger platform now, But nah, man, I'm really proud of you, brother.
Thank you. So you repackaged the song and brung it to him.
Yeah, I was with Empire about 2 years ago, and I sold my catalog. A lot of artists and labels were selling our masters and our catalog. There's a deal on the table right now for my masters. But I left Empire, and I went to go write the book. I made it off the block. Not another statistic. Available on headknockers.com or Amazon. You buy it from me, you get a signature, the whole get down. But I went to write the book. I traveled all over the world. I went to Germany. I went to Egypt. I went to Paris. I moved to Thailand. And I was like, all right. And then my office is here, which I'll do a tour before we're done, of the Muay Thai school. And my business partner, who is a hip hop head, my brother Vin, he was like, he was more of a fan than a friend. And then we created a brotherhood, and he taught me to get back into music, and Empire was like, love, we'd love to have you back. So a lot of new stuff, the new stuff with Jelly Roll. We can get into all that, but shoot away, Staxx, whatever you want to ask me.
You've been involved with motorcycles for a while. You go from being around Ice-T. How do you get involved with the motorcycles?